What if one of the greatest empires the world has ever known did not fall because it was weak, but because it ruled through fear, misunderstood its enemies, and hesitated at the most critical moment in its history, long before Europeans ever imagined the Americas? The Aztec Empire ruled the heart of what is now Mexico. At its center stood Tenochtitlan, a city so vast and carefully planned that even hardened Spanish conquerors would later struggle to describe it. Without AE, built on an island in Lake Texcoco, the city rose from the water like something unreal. Stone causeways stretched across the lake, connecting the island to the mainland. Canoes filled the canals, transporting people, food, and goods through the city as smoothly as streets in any modern capital. Towering temples dominated the skyline, especially the Great Temple, where rituals were performed to honor the gods, believed to control the fate of the universe. Markets buzzed with life from sunrise to sunset, drawing tens of thousands of traders each day. There were barbers, doctors, judges, teachers, and engineers. Compared to many European cities of the early 1500s, Tenochtitlan was cleaner, larger, and more organized. To the Aztecs, this was not just a city. It was the sacred center of existence itself. Yet the Aztecs, who called themselves the Mexica, had not always been powerful. Their rise was born from hardship and rejection. According to their own stories, they were once wanderers, mocked and driven away by stronger city-states. They survived in swamps and harsh lands where others refused to live. There God promised them greatness, but only if they endured suffering and followed his signs. One day, they claimed to see the sign they had waited for: an eagle perched on a cactus, devouring a snake. In that moment, they settled on a small island in the lake and began building what no one else thought possible. Through determination, military discipline, and religious unity, they transformed that island into a powerful city. Over time, they formed alliances, crushed rivals, and expanded outward in waves of conquest. The Aztec Empire did not rule through peaceful unity. It ruled through dominance. City after city was conquered and forced into submission. These cities paid tribute: corn, cacao, cotton, jade, gold, and human captives. These captives were brought to Tenochtitlan to be sacrificed in public ceremonies, meant to feed the gods and keep the sun moving across the sky. To the Aztecs, sacrifice was sacred and necessary. To their subjects, it was terrifying. Under the surface of Aztec power, resentment spread. Entire populations lived in fear that their children might be taken as offerings. Tribute grew heavier as the empire expanded. While Tenochtitlan flourished, many provinces suffered. They obeyed not because they were loyal, but because resistance meant destruction. By the early 16th century, the empire stood at its height. Emperor Moctezuma II ruled from a palace of stone and gold, surrounded by priests, nobles, and warriors. He commanded immense authority, yet he was deeply troubled. Strange signs filled the sky. A comet burned overhead. Temples caught fire without explanation. Rumors spread of prophecies foretelling the return of powerful beings from the east. Moctezuma feared the gods were sending a warning. Then the warning became real. In 1519, strange floating mountains appeared on the eastern coast. They carried men unlike any the Aztecs had seen, pale-skinned, armored, riding massive animals that looked like monsters. Hernan Cortes arrived with fewer than 600 Spanish soldiers, but he possessed weapons that thundered, blades that shattered wooden arms, and horses that struck terror into anyone who faced them for the first time. Moctezuma faced a terrible choice. If these men were gods, attacking them would bring divine wrath. If they were humans, allowing them inside the empire would be disastrous. Paralyzed by doubt, he chose neither option. Instead, He sent gifts, food, textiles, and gold. The gold sealed the empire's fate. To courts, the gold was proof that unimaginable wealth lay ahead. He burned his ships, ensuring his men could not retreat, and marched inland. Along the way, he discovered what truly made conquest possible. The enemies of the Aztecs themselves, the Tlaxcalans, and other oppressed peoples saw the Spaniards not as invaders, but as tools for revenge. Tens of thousands joined courts, turning a small expedition into a massive coalition army. When courts finally entered Tenochtitlan, he was stunned. The city surpassed anything he had known in Europe. Yet within days, he made his move. Moctezuma was seized and held prisoner in his own palace. Though still alive, the emperor was no longer in control. His people saw him as weak. Authority crumbled. Tension exploded into violence. During a sacred festival, Spanish forces slaughtered unarmed worshippers. The city erupted in rage. Streets filled with chaos, stone and fire raining down on the invaders. Moctezuma was killed whether by his own people or the Spaniards remains unclear. Courts fled the city in the dead of night, losing hundreds of men in what became known as the Night of Sorrows. But the true killer had already been unleashed. Smallpox spread through the city like a curse. Bodies piled in the streets. Warriors died before they could fight. Priests, leaders, and entire families vanished. The Aztecs had no immunity. Their world collapsed from the inside. When courts returned, the empire was a shadow of itself. He surrounded Tenochtitlan, cutting off food, water, and supplies. Brigantines controlled the lake. Cannons shattered temples. Starvation weakened defenders. After months of brutal fighting, the city fell in 1521. The Aztec Empire was gone. It did not fall because it lacked intelligence, courage, or culture. It fell because fear created enemies, hesitation invited destruction, and disease shattered its strength. The empire collapsed under the weight of its own system at the exact moment it encountered an unfamiliar world. Yet the Aztecs did not disappear. Their language survived. Their knowledge of agriculture shaped modern food systems. Their descendants live on. Their story is not one of savagery, but of complexity, brilliance, and tragedy. The fall of the Aztec Empire teaches a timeless lesson about power and survival. Strength alone is never enough to protect a civilization, especially when fear replaces trust and domination replaces unity. An empire built on intimidation can grow rapidly, but it also creates enemies who wait patiently for the moment to strike. When unfamiliar threats arrive, hesitation can be just as dangerous as reckless action. And when internal divisions exist, even the most advanced cities can collapse with shocking speed. The Aztecs remind us that civilizations do not fall only because they are conquered, but because their systems fail to adapt. When the world around them changes, like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Do you believe the Aztec Empire fell mainly because of Spanish weapons, internal resentment, devastating disease, or the deadly combination of all three?